the Canon RF100-400mm. Should you buy this lens? I mean, I did. And I'm stoked that I did. Now look, it's not perfect, but it's pretty bloody good. And considering it's about the same size as a can of beer, and actually weighs less than a can of beer, I couldn't be more stoked with the results that I've got from this lens. Oh, and it's under $1,000. It's a 400mm lens for under $1,000 brand new. It's almost a year later now, and I've shot everything from ski films to landscape photography in Iceland to shots of bears and like little squirrels, and so the usual things you'll find in like a Google review. It's weather sealed. It's got the USM, so it's really fast focusing. It's minimal distortions, but you didn't really come here to listen to me recite Google stuff. So I'm more of a practical guy, and I've tested the shit out of this lens, and I'm going to share those results with you. Let's start with the not so good first. Now, it's a slow lens. There's no getting around that. But, and this is a big but, realistically, unless you are a wildlife photographer or a sports photographer and you're shooting in low light, it's not really going to affect that much. If you want to spend $4.5–5 grand on a lens, then you'll get those results. But if you want to spend $1,000 on a lens and have something that's this light and this portable, then this isn't really going to be the biggest issue for you. Let's also be realistic. With the new AI denoise functions in Lightroom and various other programs, you can just bump that ISO and sort that out in post. It's not a deal breaker by any means. My only other issue that I've had when shooting with this lens, it's not exactly sharp when I'm shooting zoomed in landscape photos. So if I've like zoomed right in on a mountainscape and like isolated a section of an image or of a setting, it's not tack sharp. It's not a deal breaker, but I wouldn't really print something like that image. I'll show you a couple examples from a sunset that I had in Iceland. First shot 16mm and the other one is 400mm, zoomed right in on the mountains. Now, as you can see, it's not perfect, but again, it's pretty bloody good. Right, now let's focus on the good parts of this lens. And holy shit, am I glad I had this lens with me when I saw this young grizzly bear. It's a shot I've dreamed of getting forever, like a close-up portrait of a grizzly bear's face. Actually makes me think about a shot I got of a gorilla with a lens that just wasn't perfect, and it drives me crazy. But this grizzly photo, it's so sharp and so clean, and even at f8 there's a really nice depth of field where the bear's face is in focus, and about this far behind its neck and its body are nicely out of focus. It really isolates the actual subject of the image, which is the bear's face. After I got that image, I was curious to see just how far I could push this lens and see what I could really get when it came to shooting wildlife. And so I went chasing squirrels, little ground squirrels, little chipmunks, and just got some incredible shots of like close-up photos of its face even. It focuses really, really well at close distances. So I was able to sit and just wait for this ground squirrel to pop its little head up, and it focused on its eyes, and I got these shots, and they are stunning. And if you zoom in again, it's so crisp and so clean at f8. And with the subject that close, the depth of field is really nice. Now, I didn't just shoot photos with this, I've shot a lot of video with it as well, including shots of people skiing. Now, there's this one particular shot where I had the skier just like mobbing down this hill, coming directly at me, and it tracked its focus the whole way down, and like, he wasn't going slow, he was moving. Let's actually just bring that up to real speed for a second. You can see how quickly he's moving, and it is tracking focus perfectly. Now, that is a mixture of the Canon R6 Mark II and the lens, but that combo works, and it worked really well with this shot. I might also add, I also just had the camera sitting on my bag, and the in-body stabilization mixed with the lens stabilization had it looking like it was a locked off shot. I'm very impressed with this, and I'm going to run through another couple of examples of shots that I've taken with the lens. Just going to roll some more footage to give you examples of shots that I've gotten in slow-mo and video. And last but not least is a time-lapse of a mountaintop. I shot this at 400mm, and as I was saying, it's not the sharpest when focused at that level, but it's still really good. To wrap this up, I am stoked with this lens. Now, it doesn't tick every box, but it shouldn't, considering it was $879 Canadian, which I'm pretty sure is like $650 US. It's ridiculous. It is also so light that I don't even question bringing it with me now. It just lives in my camera bag. My old 70-200 2.8, however, I had to really think about whether or not I actually wanted to carry that, because climbing a mountain with that much extra weight, it just killed me sometimes. But this just comes with me everywhere now. It lives in my bag, and for moments like that bear shot, I'm so happy that it lives there now. Long story short, I do recommend this lens, and I would buy it again in a heartbeat. It actually sparked me buying a whole new lightweight kit, but that's a different story. I went on an 80k hike the other day and didn't want to carry any of my 2.8 glass, so I went out and bought all of the cheap lenses, and they're great. They're not as good, but for the weight on a hike like that, they're worth it. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that whole review in a different time. For now, appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're on the edge about buying one of these, go out and get one. It's worth the money. And it's just fun to shoot with. It's so fun to shoot with. I just love shooting ground squirrels with this thing. I could do it all day, and I have spent a lot of time just sitting and shooting ground squirrels. But enough of that. We'll see you guys next week. Peace. That's louder now, that's for sure.